All right, so for today, we're going to do notes section 1.1a on basic geometric figures. So I've got 6 terms here I'm going to go over with you. We'll go over the definition and then a couple of other things you need to know about them. So I do think that most of these are going to be pretty simple. They're all going to be terms that you've heard before, but hopefully I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So we're going to start first with point. So point is an exact location in space with an indefinite shape and size. So point is literally a point. There's my illustration of a point. Simple as that. Points are going to be named with capital letters. So I could call that point D. You have 2 ways to write that. You can write that point D, literally those words, or the cool thing about points is that they don't need any kind of word or any kind of symbol in front of them. If you just write a capital letter, that's enough. So if you see a capital letter, that's me telling you that it's a point. Okay? All right, our next term is going to be line. So a line is an object with no thickness that extends indefinitely in 2 directions. So the important part about this is that it extends indefinitely. So that indefinitely, it goes on forever. So I am going to have arrows at the end of my line. That's letting you know that it is going to go on forever. So to name a line, you do need some points on your line. So a line is just a bunch of points all pushed together. There's an infinite number of points on this line. I am going to pull out a couple of them so that I'm able to name the line. So I'm just going to start ABC. So A, B, C. All right, so to name a line, you just need 2 points. It can be any 2 points that you have on the line in any kind of order. So for example, I could name this line A, B. When you name a line, after you write down the 2 points, you have to put the line symbol above it. A line symbol is just a line with the arrows on the end. Don't forget the arrows. Remember, that's what tells us that it extends indefinitely in 2 directions. Okay. All right. So remember, I told you it can be any combination of 2 points on that line. So it could be AB. It could be BC. Or let's mix it up for the last one. You're probably thinking I'm going to say AC, but let's turn it around. Let's do CA. Okay. Now, one other thing that you might see when you're naming lines, sometimes when you have a line, there will be a little script letter down to the side. When I say script, I mean it's going to be written kind of in cursive, and it'll just be hanging out to the side. And so, for example, I could also call this line, write out the word line, and then do that script letter. So this could be called line L. Any of those 4 things are good options. Remember, you could turn it around. This could be AC or CB, those kind of things. All right. Next is going to be array. So array is part of a line, consists of 1 endpoint, and extends indefinitely in 1 direction. Okay, so here is what that's going to look like. We're going to have 1 endpoint, and then from that endpoint, it's going to extend infinitely in 1 direction. Okay, so we've got an endpoint and then goes on forever. So that's array. Array is going to have points on it just like a line does. So this point's already labeled for you. We might as well go ahead and use it. And then we'll put another point on here just for fun. Let's do R. Okay, so when you name array, there's only one way to name array. Arrays are kind of special in that sense that you have to start with the end point. And so when you look at this picture, I want you to ask yourself, well, which point is on the end? Which one is the end point? It's going to be A. R's not at the end. There's stuff on either side of R. So my end point is A. So when I name this array, I'm going to name it array AR, and then I'm going to put my array symbol above it. So I am going to make you that note. Endpoint must come first. Don't forget that. All right, next we've got a line segment. So a line segment is similar to a line. However, it has 2 endpoints and it contains all the points in between. So you can start by drawing a line without the arrows though, because this one says it has 2 endpoints. So my line segment is going to have a point on either end. So to name the line segment, it's super simple, very similar to a line and an array. Those points need names. I'm going to use my initials for this one. We got KP. So to name it, I can call it line segment KP or line segment PK. Either of those would be good options. Next, we've got opposite rays. I like opposite rays. Opposite rays are rays that share a common endpoint but continue infinitely in opposite directions. So let's think about this for a second. They share an endpoint, and it's going to be two rays, the opposite rays, that continue infinitely in opposite directions. So that means one ray can go this way, so the other ray must go in the opposite direction. Okay, so notice that opposite rays really is just a line. Okay, opposite rays is just fancy for a line. So we know already from when we named a line that to name a line you just need 2 points. And so I am going to add another point on here, and we'll label them. Let's do R and T, and then we'll name this line. So we can name this line RT or TR. Notice I put my arrows on my symbol when I named it because this one is a line. It does extend infinitely. All right, the last one, and this one to me is probably the trickiest one we've got, is a plane. So a plane is a flat surface that continues infinitely in all directions. That's the part of this that I think makes it a little bit trickier. It extends infinitely in all directions. If you think about that for a minute, that's hard to picture because how do you draw that? How am I able to draw something that's flat and it continues infinitely in all directions? And so I am going to draw that by drawing just a box of sorts, kind of like a parallelogram on my paper. That's the best I can do. Okay, so sometimes when people draw planes, you'll see them extend all the sides and put arrows on them, letting you know that, hey, all of these sides go on forever. I'm going to leave mine like this. If you want to draw the arrows, you're more than welcome to. On a plane, you also are going to have points and then also a script letter. And so I'm going to go ahead and just put some points on my plane. So there's a couple of points. And then you do oftentimes have a script letter on a plane. So I'm going to do an R in the bottom of my plane. Okay, so if you'll notice, here's what I want you to notice about this. These points, X, Y, and Z, have a point next to them. That they're points. This R is a script R. It's not just a capital R. We talked about when you name a point, it can just be a capital letter, but this is not just a capital letter. It's a script R. It's written in cursive. Okay, so when you name this plane, you have two options. Your first option is you can call this plane R. Okay, pick your script letter, plane R. Your second option is you can call it plane, and then you pick any 3 points that are on the plane. Okay, so there is a stipulation that goes with that. You'll get that in a coming video. But for now, we're just going to pick 3 points that are on that plane. Well, you only have 3 points. There they are. You can list them in any order that you want to. So just for fun, I'm going to list them in a weird order. Y, Z, X. So there's your options. Plane R or plane Y, Z, X. All right. Bye.